In our neighborhood, people spoke about him in whispers, like a half-legend, a local myth no one fully believed until they saw him themselves. They called him simply the Mailman. But those who saw him up close never said that word the same way again. The first person to notice him was a night watchman at an abandoned house on the edge of town. The house had been empty for years, windows boarded up, mailboxes rusted shut. But one night, the watchman saw a man in a dark blue postal uniform walk up to the gate. Too clean, too new for a place like this. He moved slowly, carefully, as if afraid to disturb the silence. In his hands, an overstuffed bag of letters. Later, the watchman swore he had wanted to call out, to tell him no one lived there. But he couldn't. Something about the man's presence kept him frozen. The mailman walked to each mailbox, even the broken ones. He opened them with a key he shouldn't have had, and placed letters inside. Many letters. Then he left without looking back. The watchman didn't sleep that night. In the morning, he checked the mailboxes. They were empty, except one. Inside was a single envelope addressed to him. He didn't open it right away. First, he showed it to a neighbor. The neighbor laughed it off, saying it was a prank. But the watchman couldn't shake the feeling that the paper was warmer than it should have been. He opened it that evening. Inside was one sentence. "You saw me. Now I will see you more often." That was the beginning. After that, he started noticing the mailman on the street. Every morning, same time. He appeared at the end of the block, walking slowly along the sidewalk, leaving a strange silence behind him. Birds even seemed to stop chirping when he passed. But the strangest part was this: the mailman never knocked on doors. He simply left letters in places where they shouldn't have been. Broken mailboxes, windowsills of locked apartments, under doormats of empty houses. And always someone received them, even people who had died years ago. A week after the first letter, the watchman woke to a knock at his door. Steady, calm. Knock, knock, knock. He looked through the peephole and saw him. The mailman stood right there holding a letter, not moving, just waiting. The watchman stepped back, refusing to open the door. But when he looked again, there was no one outside. Only a letter slipped under the door. Inside was a new message. "You are home. Good. I always know where home is." After that, things changed. Letters started appearing inside his apartment, on the kitchen table, inside his clothes pockets, in the refrigerator between groceries. He stopped sleeping. But the worst part wasn't that. The worst part was that letters started arriving from people who were alive, but writing as if they were already dead. One of his neighbors disappeared 3 days later, just never came home. The next morning, the watchman found a letter under his door. It said only one thing: he has been delivered. The police didn't believe him. The psychologist called it stress-induced hallucinations. But within a week, others began seeing the mailman too. A schoolboy first, then a woman from the next building, then a bus driver. All of them described the same thing: a blue coat, white gloves, and eyes with no reflection. One evening, the watchman decided to follow him. He moved carefully, staying far behind. The mailman walked slowly, but always stayed one step ahead. He never turned his head, never hurried, but always knew he was being watched. They reached an old post office that had been closed for years. The mailman entered. The watchman followed. Inside, it was dark. Dust hung in the air like fog. But something was still operating inside.
Hundreds of mailboxes, each one labeled, names, surnames, dates of birth, dates of death. The watchman realized something horrifying. Some of the death dates hadn't happened yet. He started backing away.
And then he heard a voice behind him, calm, flat. "You are delaying delivery." He turned. The mailman stood right behind him, too close. And for the first time, the watchman saw his face. It was empty, not dead, not alive, just unfinished. "Who are you?" the watchman whispered. The mailman tilted his head as if the question didn't compute. Then he answered, "I am what delivers notifications." "Notifications about what?" The mailman slowly lifted his bag, and letters spilled out, thousands of them, falling to the floor like dead leaves. About what has already been assigned. The watchman ran. He burst outside, not looking back. His heart pounded so hard it felt like the entire neighborhood could hear it. But when he reached his house, he understood it was pointless. His mailbox was open. Inside was a thick bundle of letters, heavy, fresh, all addressed to him. He didn't open them immediately, but that night they opened on their own, one by one. No hands, no wind, just unfolding paper. Each page was blank, except the last one. It read, "Your delivery time is tomorrow." The next day, he didn't leave the house, but the mailman came anyway. Neighbors saw him standing at the door for a long time, until the door opened by itself. A week later, people in the neighborhood began disappearing. Letters arrived more frequently, sometimes 10 a day, sometimes blank, sometimes with only one sentence, "Accepted for delivery." Only one person in the town still sees him every morning, the new watchman of the old house. He swears he isn't afraid, but every night he checks his mailbox, and every night something is there. Yesterday he found the latest letter. It was warm, too warm. Inside it said only, "You are now on the route." This morning, the mailman walked past his house again, and for the first time looked directly into the window. And for the first time, he smiled. But there was no warmth in it, only precision. Like someone who always completes every delivery on time.